Record. All right, we're recording.
Cheers. Welcome to Late Night with Morales and Herring. Remember, when you call to us in the hallway, it's Mister. All right, guys, welcome to Morales and Herring After Dark, which means it's nighttime when we're making this.
Which is why we sound so delirious.
Yeah, delirious. This is why I'm drinking a lot of water. It's the end of the day.
Yes.
I'm tired and my throat is tired.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, guys, so some of you may or may not have read our little article yesterday. So remember, we've been learning a lot about Spanish explorers and our one solo French explorer, La Salle. Now, the important parts that we really need to remember about our Spanish explorer friends is that they were kind of some of the first ones to really step foot in Texas and other parts of the country, such as Florida and Louisiana. Remember, La Salle set up a kind of beachhead in the port of Mississippi. At the mouth of the Mississippi, and he named it Louisiana. So, what we need to remember, the most important thing is that they didn't really establish any or make any long-lasting colonies. They kind of went in, saw things, did things, and then left. Whether they were exploring for gold, whether they were exploring for new passages, or if they were going to try and set up different colonies, such as Oñate when he went to New Mexico. Remember, one-foot man did not make a good impression on the locals. So, today we're going to talk about what happened because of La Salle. So, because of La Salle, a Frenchman trying to set up a colony in Texas, he scared the heebie-jeebies out of the Spanish. And this prompted or caused the Spanish to start a program of missions in Texas that started in the late 1600s. Now, what is a mission? A mission's kind of like a church. And we have it here on screen just to kind of show you. A mission is a settlement where religion is taught. Now, in this place, it wasn't just a church. They set these up to draw in Native Americans. That was plan one. Draw in Native Americans, teach them Christianity, get them on Spain's side. Now, this plan worked in some places and didn't work in others. The missions were not always successful in being nice to the Native Americans. Some of the Native Americans were treated very poorly, and they did not like the people in the missions. So some of the missions worked, some of them did not. They tried to teach different skills and knowledge to the Native Americans. That was the first goal. The second goal was to establish permanent settlements to claim land in case any of Spain's enemies ever tried to claim land. And that way they could keep the French out. One of the missions was actually settled very close to the French territory of Louisiana. So kind of our big important things we need to know. Missions were built near tribes of Indians. They were built specifically to try and civilize these tribes. Again, some were kind of successful. Many were not. They usually try to settle them near rivers or in places that were easy to irrigate so that they could grow food and crops. Because as we learned about Texas, our Are there a lot of natural bodies of water in Texas aside from rivers?
Oh man, there are so many. No.
No, there's only one natural lake in Texas,
Yep.
and that would be the Caddo Lake. Um, and yes, it is named after the Native American tribe who lived there. Now, they would usually try and go around rivers so that they had water and a means to water their crops. So, as you can see here on our little picture, Mr. Morales, if you would scroll down just a little bit,
Yes.
this is typically what a mission kind of looked like. You had the main building, which was the church, of course, and then they would usually build a wall around it that had at least one gate, two gates. They would keep livestock, and some grew orchards because the climate was pretty good for growing certain types of fruit. And they would also garden or grow small batches of crops. They had a flour mill so that they can make flour. And so that's kind of a basic mission. Now, missions weren't the only structure or wow, I can't even think. They weren't the only structure or settlement that Spain tried. And Mr. Morales is going to talk about that second kind.
Yes. Well, my first question goes to Mr. Herring. And I'm sure you can hear Bear squeaking her toy, can't you? Bear squeaking her toy right back here, dude. Oh, sorry. All right. There's always going to be something with these videos, right? Bear, come on, man. All right. Well, we can probably just cut this.
What question? What did I do?
Oh, my question was, could you hear Bear squeaking the toy?
I mean, I could just then.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, she's going ham on that thing, dude. Okay. Anyway, well, that's a good segue into Presidios, I think. All right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
squeak, 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 squeak.
It's always something, man. It's always. Mr. Herring did a great job talking about missions. So now we need to talk about how did they protect those missions? And so what they would do is they would build what were called presidios or forts, essentially. Now, as you can tell from the picture, I'm going to go back for a second. It did have quarters and workshops, right, for the workers, but we need somewhere for the soldiers to stay, right?
Good point.
So they would bring in and build these presidios specifically for the soldiers. And what they would do is the soldiers would come in and they would bring mail and other news because they just came over here, right, from either Spain or other Spanish-controlled territories, where they were bringing in like updated orders about what they wanted people to do, right, especially closer to the, like Mr. Herring was saying, Louisiana and the French-controlled territory. Things were ever changing out that way. And so news and things were always going back and forth because it was always changing. So we needed to protect them. And when we would protect them, villas would pop up, right? And villas are just towns, okay, that would crop up around these presidios. And as you can imagine, the reason that they would come around these presidios is because they were protected, right? It just makes sense. If it's a protected area, why wouldn't people come here, right? So you want to live somewhere where it's safe, of course.
So were the villas different because instead of being there to kind of bring in the Native American tribes, they brought in like Spanish colonists or people that wanted to live in the New World?
Exactly. So the Spanish actually offered people land. They offered livestock, tools, weapons to move into what they called Spanish Texas. Well, they didn't really call that, but that's what it was, right? Spanish owned Texas, right, at the time. And it, of course, didn't have its name just quite yet, but they came in from Mexico, or what is known as Mexico, and then other parts of the world. And like I said, you know, they would offer them these things to come move here because still to the Spanish, while they didn't want to have the French control it, they had looked for gold at one point. They couldn't really find any gold. They had looked for all this other stuff to make it profitable, and to ever expand their large empire. And they just did not have a good opinion of Texas until the French tried to come in. And, you know, when your sibling's playing with a toy, you don't want to play with a toy, right? It's your toy. This is our land. It's our toy. We got to take it back, right? We might not want the toy, but our sibling can't have it, right? So that's kind of how they thought of it. And the reading says here, so I'm just going to read it verbatim. So, for example, in the 1730s, 55 people came from Spain's Canary Islands, a group of islands off the west coast of Africa. Okay, so you can imagine people came all the way from Africa, sailed anywhere from 4 to 6 months, right, Mr. Herring? I think that's what we came up with, right?
I believe so.
Across the ocean, through the Gulf of Mexico, into these presidios, which are now villas, right? These successful missions, and they would plant crops. They would move in. The villas would grow, and it would become just like a thriving town, essentially. Yep. Which is kind of exciting to see, like where some of the towns we have now, where they came from. Because if you think of San Antonio, if you think,
yep, that was actually started as a mission first.
Exactly.
And then since it was it was near a river, they set up a presidio, and eventually a villa grew, and that's where you get one of Texas's largest states. My goodness, largest cities, San Antonio.
Exactly. And so you can just see that a lot, especially in the southern area of Texas and into the eastern area, closer to Louisiana, that the successful missions turned into successful presidios and villas. And well, you know, they might not be there still today, right? They might not be called presidios. There's a town called Presidio, but they're the reason that we have some of the towns we have today, which is kind of exciting in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is. And during this time,
the ones I can still think of would be, there is one still standing in El Paso, San Antonio. I want to say Nacogdoches.
I think so. There are 6, I believe, but I don't know where the other ones are.
I do not remember where the other 3 are.
I don't remember. I think we talk about them at some point, but I don't remember exactly.
Yes.
Exactly where. Anyway, so that kind of takes us into our next point. So we've built these missions because we were trying to teach the natives Spanish. Well, we weren't. They were. And we were trying to teach them our religion. And when you have that, you have cross-culturization, as Mr. Herring so lovely said before our video began. But I love the word.
Yeah.
And that takes us to our next page, which is a mix of cultures.
And you can think of it another way, a third way. It is an exchange of cultures. So as you see there in the middle.
Here. Wait, Mr. Herring froze?
So I froze. Hello again. There in the middle, Mr. Morales is moving his mouse around. We have a diagram that shows us tomatoes, squash, potatoes, corn, turkey, and pumpkin. Now, notice, those are, can't read it.
Okay, so this is what the American Indians is what it says, Native Americans, okay? Shared plants and animals, and they were new to the Europeans. So the tomatoes, the squash,
right.
The corn. That was all new to Europeans coming over.
Yep.
And then brought other things over.
Okay. So this is what the New World had to offer. This is what the American Indians showed the explorers, and they took back. So guys, Europe didn't even have pumpkins. until they came to the New World and brought some back. And then,
All about pumpkins.
so Ms. Morales, if you could scroll down just a smidge,
Sure.
let's look at the second part of that diagram that's pointing towards the New World.
Okay.
So, guys, if all of these things on top came from the New World, what do we think that? Where do we think these came from if they're going to the New World? I'll give you a second to think. Okay, well, that was a second. So, if you notice, there's fruit. Looks like the citrus kind of fruits, right? Oranges, lemons, grapefruit.
Yep.
Sugarcane. Wait, chickens, pigs. Aren't those native to? Wait, horses, cows. What?
What? That was so funny. That was actually really fun. That was so good.
Right?
And then I ruined it by laughing. Okay, but
Oh no, it's fine. So, like, guys, what we're trying to say is that look at all of these things that America didn't have before the Spanish explorers. They didn't have chickens, pigs, horses, nope, or cows. The only natural bovine they had was a bison. Can you believe that? It's pretty crazy. So, America gave Europe all of the things we previously listed, and then America got citrus fruits, sugarcane, and livestock. That's pretty crazy because those weren't normal here less than 300 years ago. I mean, like, that's pretty crazy. Because they're commonplace now.
Definitely.
So kind of the big thing we want you to see is that with colonization, new things were brought in that had never been seen before. When two cultures meet and mix, new things get brought in on both sides. So this is just kind of an interesting thing we wanted y'all to see and kind of understand. This was a brand new world for both sides.
Exactly.
If you remember learning, the Comanche, they were a proud warrior people who rode horses. Do you know, before there were horses, they didn't ride horses.
They just
Nor
ran.
were they near as powerful. Yeah. So it's very important to remember a lot of these things that we see here now, you can thank the Spanish explorers for bringing over in the first place.
And that's why we talk about them. That's why we've spent like a year on them already, it feels like. Because the things that they introduced, what they did for Texas and to Texas and with Texas was very important to what became of what we are today.
Yeah.
So
I agree. And just a little tidbit. If you notice over there with the drums, they didn't just bring over food and stuff. Both sides kind of shared music in different parts of culture. Remember, culture is everything from the music we listen to the games we play, to the books we read. So things that we find interesting, those swapped too. So, guys, now with this knowledge laden in your brain, we would really like you to focus, or
like you do, man.
Okay, Mr. Morales, never mind. You go. I can't brand right now.
Okay. Okay, more than anything, guys, we wanted to tell you what missions are, because we are going to be discussing them up until Christmas, probably.
Yeah.
Right? What the point of missions are, how they were important to what we have today, what they included, what was given to the Spanish and what the Spanish gave to the natives, and how it was more about an exchange in some more successful missions than it was just, we want you to do this, and we are making you do this, right?
Yep.
The natives and their culture, they were very set in their ways, like we all are, right? We all have our certain beliefs and we all have our culture that we're in, but it's very important that we can exchange ideas with new cultures. Maybe not like, take some of those things in and diversify ourselves, because, people have a lot to offer and we can always learn something new from someone else.
That's true. Guys, be open to learning new things, because there can be some pretty cool stuff.
Definitely.
We would not have grapefruit if it wasn't for these Spanish explorers.
Exactly.
If you go to South Texas, especially around former presidios or villas, you'll actually find a lot of orange orchards and grapefruit orchards.
Yeah.
Why? Because they grow really well in Texas weather. So,
Sure.
take that as kind of the last thing. Guys, have a great day. If you need us, join our Zooms. We're here all the time. We get lonely, so we make videos late at night so that you'll join our Zooms in the morning, and we're not making videos.
We try to make the videos as confusing as possible so that you have to join the Zoom.
Because you will not understand a single thing that we talked about.
We're going to have to rewatch this thing and make sure it's coherent.
It's not!
Oh, of course not.
Especially this end. I think we really need to end this differently.
All right, guys. I don't know how to end this thing, dude. We just got to cut the tape off, I think. Wait, we got a high five, though. We got to throw the high five in.
We do have to. Okay, so I liked how you kind of wrapped up about the missions. Let's do that again.
Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, I got this. All right, guys, so today in our video, I don't even know if I'm going to cut any of this out. We might just keep going.
We've been going for 20 minutes.
Exactly, man. It's a whole lesson, It's a whole lesson.
That's a whole day's worth of work. We are shooting this conclusion for the second and a half time. So thank you so much for watching and paying attention so far. Remember, as Mr. Morales kind of said, missions were the first step in colonization of Texas. The missions came first to start getting the local peoples used to Christianity, used to farming, used to working. But not all of the missions were very successful. And then you also had what Mr. Morales really talked about were the presidios and villas. Those were the second part, kind of part two of the installment of the Spanish colonists. That is when they brought in people of their own into Texas. And then kind of our third point, just remember, when two cultures meet, they exchange things. There is cross-colonization or cross-culturalization. I'm going to coin that term.
Yeah.
And
pollination, but different.
Yeah, kind of. Very similar, though. Guys, that's a related word right there. No, not really. So, guys, we've had fun. Mr. Morales and I are going to go to sleep now.
Yeah.
So join us on our Zooms if you need any help understanding or kind of reviewing with us. Thank you so much for your attention, and thank you so much for being you. So as always, y'all have a great day. Be safe. We love you, and high five. I did?
Wait. You froze, dude. Well, I don't know if they could hear you, but you were just like, as you can see in the middle.
Of course.
And then
There I go again. Uh-oh. There I go again.
This video is way longer than it needs to be. At least we're funny.
Amen.
I don't know.
Oh God.
I guess if the parents sit through these things, they probably get annoyed. But if it's just us,
I mean, parents, look, your kids, they need the kind of rundown time. You need to learn that we're humans too, who make mistakes and love your children just as much as you do. And that's why we're up this late making this video.
exactly. We're already pouring into the next day. That's how late it is.
I'm an old man. I need my sleep. Anyway, okay.
Grumpy.
So
It's always something. I turned the dishwasher off.
okay, kids. So before we learn about Presidios,
Yes.
that is called a dog who is loved
Oh,
and is having a good time.
thank you. She brought it to me, but she's pulling it now.
Oh, yep. She wants to play.
Yep. Thank you, Bear. Okay, go. You're free. Go. All right. Yes, I'll throw it then. Dude, we're going to have to pause this, all right?
okay.
Okay, she's going to the room now. Okay. I don't know, dude. I don't even know anymore.